Hi, this is a new series of videos where we'll explore the new features of TX DWA. This is for the release that's coming out in January, probably January 2017, and we'll go over all of the features in the new release. To start out with, we'll cover a number of the smaller features. This is because they are the ones that are ready in the test builds so far. So I'll cover these smaller features this week, and as we go on we'll cover some of the larger features too. One of the smaller ones is, as you probably know, when you put descriptions on objects, the object will appear in bold. So if I input a description on the group object, it will appear in bold. If you start adding descriptions to a lot of objects, everything ends up being bold, which doesn't look that great from a user interface perspective. So there's a new setting in the window and menu settings in the tool menu that allows you to turn off show descriptions, and this will remove the bolding. This is also where you can show data types, which is a feature from the last release, so not in the new release here. But when we deactivate it here, it'll ask us if it's okay to refresh the project tree. All this does is it redraws the entire project tree and collapses everything that's expanded. If we say okay to that, we'll see that while the descriptions are still there, they're no longer highlighted with the bold text. The next thing I want to show you is default data types. So if I am adding a number of custom fields to a table, so let's see here, I'm going to add a category, and this is a text type. I might have a default that says that it's Unicode, the same as the other fields here. So in previous versions, and maybe I want most of my text lengths to be 20. In previous versions, I would have to change that every time. But now I can set this as default. That means that the next time I create a text field, so let's say this is type, it will default to the length of 20 and to be Unicode. So that covers the text type. The same is the case if you go to numeric. You can change the number of fractional digits or the floating point setting, set that as default, and that will then count for numeric. Integer, you can change the type from big int to int, for example. So that is the new addition for default data types. The next little piece here is that we have security now available on business units. This is significant because we see more and more clients using an ODX or ODS type database as the first level as we enter in. So it's important to be able to set security on the lowest possible level. It allows you to give access to the entire database, to specific schemas, specific tables, columns, and also row level security as it's implemented by TX DWA through secured columns. But that is outside of the scope of the presentation today because that is old functionality. Alright, so the next feature is again focused around the support of ODX, the operational data exchange. This is something that you'll see there's a lot of in this release. A lot of functionality to support the ODX. So to demonstrate this one, I'll add a new SQL data source. So here we're going to go in and we're going to add AdventureWorks. This is going to be AdventureWorks 2014, and I'm going to go ahead and read objects from this. Here I'm going to go ahead and select all of the tables. Right now you'll see that there are some updates to the data selection dock here to the right. and we'll cover them later on. But for right now, what I want to show is that we have some new options on the data source. So the first thing I want to do is I would like to get rid of the prefix and just have the actual table names appear in the ODX. So I'm going to go to the data source settings. I'm going to go to the source specific setting. I'm going to set it to not prefix tables. This is going to reload the source, and we can see now they're no longer prefixed. The next thing I want to do is I want to go in and put all of these in their own schema for the data source. So the reason for that is that I'm going to add another very similar data source in a minute, and I want these to be put into separate schemas. The reason for that is that amongst other things, makes it very easy to repoint your operational reporting from your data source to the ODX when all you have to change is the schema. So I'm going to go ahead and go back into the settings here. I'm going to go to the schema settings. I can add a new schema, which is going to be AW14 because it's AdventureWorks 2014. This is then going to be my valid schema. If I also want to set up security, I'm also going to right now just set the secureable column and secureable view schema to AW14. I'm also going to add another schema for the cleansing layer, so this is going to be AWCL for cleansing. And this is going to be the default, so that means that everything that's not valid, secureable, is going to end up in the AWCL schema. When I click OK, we can see that all of these tables have now been put into the AW14 schema in the database. So when I add another data source here, my AW12, and I read the objects here, I can start adding tables that have the same names. I'm going to not prefix them, but instead I'm going to put them in a schema called AW12 and AW12 cleansing. So everything goes into the AW12 cleansing schema except for valid, secureable, and the secureable views and columns. So this means that now we have a customer in we have three customer tables. We have the DBO customer, which is the custom table I created at first. We have the AW14 customer and the AW12 customer. So this allows us to really put a lot of different databases into the same ODX even when they share table names. So the next thing I'm going to cover is also related to the ODX, and that's around data types. So when we see people selecting the entire table, and especially if it's from some kind of data source that's not SQL, we'll sometimes have to handle data types outside of what TX will automatically handle. And a new function here is the data type overrides feature, which allows you to create data type overrides that changes a data type from the data source into a different data type in the database that it's loaded into, which is typically either going to be your ODX or your staging database. So, for example, we could go ahead and add a new one here, and we could say that a data type that is equal to varchar 20 would be changed to a varchar 50 to allow for different data types to be merged by creating compatible data types that are overridden to be able to contain all of the source data. There's a lot of opportunities here. All right, so these were the features that we're ready to demonstrate at this point. There's also a number of click features that are ready now, but we're going to wait and present them all together. We're expecting in the next couple of days to get another build, at which point I'll do another video that will show some of the bigger features. There's a number of features that I'm really excited about showing, so I'm really looking forward to it. But so far we had a couple of the smaller ones. So I hope you enjoyed it. This is a new format that we're hoping to get out a little wider than just in the US Tech Summits. So any feedback is highly appreciated. And thank you for watching.